I know. I think it was something more. But what do you mean? I think it might have been a ring. What do you mean? It almost has to me a certain Monty Python. A ring? I do say. A ring? Yeah, I think that the point, line, point, I think that was actually something more. Well, have you ever seen a ring? No. Ever seen a picture of a ring? No. Ever held a ring? No. Never been to Ringville? No, you haven't. So, no, you know what all it was? Point, line. That's all I need to know. Line, point, gone. That's all it was. I don't know. I just, do you have any evidence? No. Do you have any proof? No. Any photos? No. Anything in a lab you can test? No. So this person ends up having to use words like, I don't know, I just sense, feel, trust, believe, have faith. And so the experience of the ring actually reveals two vastly divergent worldviews. The one person immediately shifts into flatland is all we have. It's all we can prove. It's all we know. It's all we can document. And so it's all we have the empirical evidence for. The one person essentially becomes what's called reductionistic. All it was point, line, point, gone. And they can argue very persuasively because this person can't come up with any tangible evidence. And so their worldview is essentially, it's all it is, there's nothing more, don't be all weird. And this person is left in the awkward position of maybe being definitively convinced that that was a ring, and yet all they can do is talk about nudges and hints and senses and feelings and beliefs, and maybe even have to use words like faith. Now, what if me, Rob, in all of my 3D-ness, what if I decided to mess with them, and I came and just kept my hand like right here? And what if the one said, you feeling anything weird? No. I don't know, man. I think Rob is near. I just feel the overwhelming presence of Rob. And the one could be saying, what are you talking? I could have my hand this close, and the one would be saying, what are you talking about? You're out of your mind. You're talking nonsense. You have to give up all that superstitious, mythic stuff. And the other one was saying, no, I think Rob is very close. Or what if I really wanted to mess with them and I just jammed my hand right through their world? Well, my fingers are of different length and of different thickness. So my fingers would appear at slightly different times, and they would produce circles, and those circles would be of slightly different circumferences and diameters. So the one could say, did you see that? Yeah. I think all those 5 circles, I think they're all related. What? They came at different times? They're different sizes? No, I think it was the hand of Rob. And once again, the person with the reductionist viewpoint is they came at different times, they're of different sizes. You have to give up this mythic, superstitious nonsense. All you have is a couple rings, circles that don't have any relation to each other. And the other one sounds like they've completely lost their mind, but in fact, they are dead on right. See, their experiences of three-dimensional objects would expose vastly different worldviews, and the one who sounded crazy would actually be dead right, and the one who sounded extremely rational, calculating, and weighed all the evidence would be missing a whole new reality right here within this one. Now, in Flatland, you also run a risk because there are boundaries in Flatland. There are those who say this is simply how it is. There is no other world. There is no higher law. There is no greater purpose. We have Flatland. That's all we have. And there would be others who would keep insisting there's more, there's beyond, there's something else, and you would have great conflict. The story of human history is the story of enlightened souls again and again who simply insisted this isn't all there is. And others who had great power invested in maintaining this is all there is ultimately have harmed lots and lots. If you were to sort through the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, what is it? The world was ruled by an empire that simply said, this is how it works. The Roman emperor is God. Bow down to the emperor. The empire is all-powerful. And an obscure Jewish rabbi comes along and preaches the kingdom of God. What is the essential conflict within the story of Jesus? Somebody who simply looks at the power brokers of Flatland and says, there's more. There's more. Now, you and I are trapped in time. We cannot go to the right in time. We cannot go to the left in time. We cannot go up in time or down in time. You and I are trapped in what's called linear forward time. We can only go forward. We cannot go back in time. And so, you're born, you pay taxes, you watch your country's World Cup team lose, you die. Now, you and I cannot go, we can only go forward in time, left, right, up, down, forward. We cannot go back in time. Time is one dimension, and yet we can't go back, and so essentially, we lose the back. Time, you and I are trapped in a half dimension of time. Time for us only goes forward in one direction. Now, what if there was a being who wasn't trapped in one dimension of time? What if there was a being who had a two-dimensional awareness of time? What if there was a being who had a three-dimensional awareness of time? Well, you and I have a three-dimensional awareness of space, so what if there was a being who had an awareness of space in time the way that you and I are aware of space? What if there was a being who looked at this marker? Let's have this marker represent your life and my life. Born, pay taxes, die. Now here's your life, here's my life. What if there was a being who had a three-dimensional awareness of time? Could they, in looking at our life, do this? Could they do this? Could they do this? Would they say, oh, I have no idea what she's going to do next? No, they'd probably just say, yep. They wouldn't be confined in any of the ways you and I are being confined with. They might even use phrases like, in the beginning, before time, to which those trapped in a half dimension would be like, that's not helping. At the time of this poem, Genesis emerged among a group of people who lived in a culture in which people assumed that the gods and goddesses are trapped in time just like humans are. So the gods and goddesses are born, they start to get ill, so you build them a giant pyramid, stuff all their stuff into the pyramid, they die, and then their son or daughter comes along and rules, and then the next ruler. And so their understanding was that the gods and goddesses are trapped in a half dimension of time just like we are. It's at this time that God appears to a shepherd named Moses and says, Moses, I want you to liberate my people, because God is in the liberation business. And God says to this shepherd, Moses, I want you to set my people free. And Moses is a very practical man and says, okay, but I'm going to need a name. Can you tell them what your name is? And God says to this man, Moses, well, just tell them my name. Just tell them I am. To which Moses responds, because that pretty much clears it up. Yeah. Nothing fuzzy there. Now, wherever you have 10 rabbis, you have 20 opinions on about what the name means. Some say the name means I always have been, I am, I always will be. Others say way too cumbersome. The name is essentially raw essence. I just am pure existence. Some say the name is a way of saying, God saying, I am not trapped in time like all the gods and goddesses that you know of. I stand outside of it, simply am, existence in its most pure, primal form. The astounding dimension to this story is this God who is outside of time, this God who is spirit. It was assumed that all the gods and goddesses had shape and form. You had statues, carvings, totems, so that you could get your mind around the God. The god or goddess always, at the time this poem emerged, had a shape or a form. This God is spirit.